So my work consists in making people remember the beauty and also the power of their voices. And I'm not so much interested in the perfect voice or in a voice that sounds impressive but also a little bit artificial, maybe. I'm more interested to listen to the individual person and to see where they are at in their lives and to try to connect them with the authenticity, with the truthfulness of their own voices in the moment. And in this seminar that we did for this weekend, we actually took a path together. We went on a journey together to explore the different aspects that influence our voices. So we explored the physical dimension of our voice, we explored the laws of anatomy and see how the voice actually works, how the vocal cords work, how the diaphragm works, how the cavities of resonance work. And that is a big part of my work is actually bodily awareness, physical awareness. And the more we listen to our bodies and the more we feel how nature is intended in our bodies, the clearer it gets. It's like it's really like a development that you can differentiate the bodily movements, the inner workings of the body more and more. The more you do it, the more the body kind of signals that it wants to be even more refined, even more discrimination in sound, in breathing movement. So that is one aspect that we explored. And the next aspect that we explored was the dimension of habits, that sometimes our minds tell us you cannot sing because maybe our parents told us that we cannot sing, or our teachers, or some other people who don't know that they can actually do very big damage if they tell children that their voices are not good enough. And many people who come to me or who also come to these kind of workshops are people who have a wound concerning their voices, and at some stage they just lost confidence in their own voices and their own vocal expression. So what I try to do is to harmonize or to undo these belief sentences. I cannot sing, my voice is not good enough. And slowly, when you make the experience singing in a group that you actually have a voice and that you can express your inner feelings, then the person gains confidence again in their own voices. And it's usually a very, very moving and touching experience. And I sometimes see myself a little bit like a midwife of voices, so that I help the voice to be born again. I mean, it has always been there, but it went kind of underground, and that it can surface again and shine again and make the person happy and more alive. And that concerns not only the singing voice, but also the speaking voice.
Tak, co mi to dalo? Tak každopádně úplně nové obzory se mi otvírají, protože já jsem nikdy nebyla na žádné výuce hlasové, jak se pracuje s hlasem, jak se učí zpívat a tak dále. A zajímalo mě opravdu to téma toho otvírání hlasu a musím říct, že to na sobě pozoruju, že to člověka zbavuje jakéhosi i ostychu a naučí se opravdu ten hlas nějakým způsobem uchopit a vidím na sobě už po tom jednom dnu vlastně nějaké první výsledky, strašně mě to baví, jsem z toho nadšená. No, Imke je úplně teda uchvatná žena, je to osobnost, která myslím si, že to není potřeba ani popisovat, protože je to na ní vidět na první pohled. Je nesmírně laskavá, umí člověka povzbudit, aby se necítil ztracený, když právě není zpěvák. A pomáhá, všechno velmi jasně a zřetelně vyslovuje a popisuje, takže je to všechno velmi pochopitelné i takovému laikovi, jako jsem já.
The third aspect of my work consists in freeing the emotional expression of a person, and I have learned from many ethnic cultures. I also work as a music ethnologist, and I learned from many different cultures that they still use their ethnic singing, their traditional songs, as a way to release tension in the community, and it's very touching that they actually usually don't do therapy, but they come together and they sing together. And when I went to Greece, there was a moment when I met a cook who cooked for us in the seminar, and he said to us, if I don't sing in the evening, it's like not brushing my teeth. You know, it's like it feels as if I haven't cleaned something out in me. And I thought it was such a simple phrase, but it actually meant that singing just kind of washes you and makes things that otherwise get stuck just to fly out into the universe and to share it with other people. And it's nice to actually share your own feelings and to feel that you're not alone with your sadness or with your longing or with your love for somebody, maybe also unfulfilled love. And I feel that the ethnic songs are actually most useful for us, not so much songs that are more modern. That's like a different genre of singing, but for the emotional liberation, I feel that the ethnic songs are very helpful.
Já zpívám dlouhá léta, ale když jsem začala učit, tak hlas dostával zabrat a zpívat jsem musela úplně přestat. A takže jsem přijela na kurz, aby mi Imke pomohla s tím hlasem něco udělat, abych mu neubližovala a zároveň abych se mohla zabývat dál tím, co dělám, to znamená, abych mohla učit a zároveň abych mohla zpívat, nejenom se svými dětmi, ale třeba se studenty. Imke tady propojila věci, které už jsem třeba znala z jógy, cvičení, uvolňování páteře, ale krásně vysvětlila, jak vlastně ten hlas funguje. Takže v tomhle mi to hodně pomohlo. A konečně jsem se rozespívala po dlouhé době. A trošičku se ten hlas uvolnil a myslím si, že ten cíl, který jsem chtěla, takže to vysloveně splnilo.
I have traveled a lot in my life and I have met many different singers and singing cultures. And the most, for me, the most touching singing culture, which is still very alive also, is the singing culture of Georgia, the polyphonic singing of Georgia. And I studied with many different singers in Georgia. And I learned that this three-part singing that the Georgians have is very, very good because you can actually learn an individual voice and at the same time you are actually integrated in the harmony. In Georgian polyphonic singing is pre-Christian, so it's very old, much older than our Western polyphony. And they say that this three-part singing represents actually the Holy Trinity. Some people compare it with that, even though it's older than Christianity. But I like the idea that the low voice is really holding the space for the singers, and that is the principle of the Father. And the Father is just there. God Father is just there and giving the space for everything to happen, and that's the principle of the low voice, is just to hold the situation. And then the middle voice is the Son, represents the Son, and the Son is the incarnation, the human incarnation of God, is the Son of the Father, and that's life, that's the human being in life, and that's why in the middle voice you always have the melody, because that's the life. It goes up and down, it has the melody, but it couldn't be without the Father holding life. And then the top voice represents the spirit, but it also represents the female principle. So that gives the light to life. So when you're bringing all these three layers together, you actually have the holding, the space, the permission to live. Then you have life itself that just kind of goes up and down, and sometimes it's difficult and sometimes it's easy. And then you have the light on top that shines actually, and that includes everything what happens, and that gives the spiritual dimension to the song, and that was what touched you so much.
We live in a society that disconnects people from earth. It's all about money, judging, and I think this workshop helps you connect everything from the singing voice to your roots, which come from earth. I play music on my free time. Mm-hmm. I love to play guitar, play with computers. Music on the computer, and singing is one of the last instruments I've started learning. So I needed this to improve my singing voice.
Fourth aspect of my work, which is the awareness that we are actually part of one big reality, and that while we are singing, we become aware that we are not alone and that we are not separated from the rest of the world. And so I feel that singing can actually give us a very concrete, very tangible experience of how we are all part of the big symphony of life. That's actually something that Hazrat Inayat Khan, the great Sufi master and musician from India, said, that we are all part of one big harmony, of one big chord, one big symphony, and that if your voice wasn't there, then the symphony would be different. And so I feel that my work is very much about making people appreciate their own voice in life. And maybe here in the group you can experience that at the example of your voice, but it also means that your life is also like that. If you wouldn't live your life the way how you're living it, with all the difficulties and all the moments of contraction and fear and anger and, human experiences, then life would be different. Your note, your life would be missing. And so I think sometimes when one learns to appreciate one's own voice, one also appreciates one's own life, even though it might not always be as we expect it to be. But so we learn with our voices to listen to life and to listen how life wants to be lived through us.